World War III went on for 20 years, and humanity was on a brink of extinction due to the thermonuclear nature of the war. So in order to save the rest of humanity, the first modern magic users appeared. You would think that experiencing near extinction would make humanity quit fighting altogether, but no, the only difference now is instead of competing to build the biggest bombs, humans are competing to train the best magic users. Tatsuya is among these magic users who has proven himself on the battlefield from a very young age, and now with his sister Miyuki, he has enrolled in an elite magic school. This school has 2 courses. The first course students are more proficient at activating magic. On the other hand, second course students might have a good understanding of magic theory, but they can't do magic that well. In RPG terms, they have low mana and high casting time. That's why they are looked down upon by the first course students. Moving on, Miyuki is pissed at the school because her big brother Tatsuya was chosen for course 2, even when he is so much more talented than her. What's more, Miyaki is even selected as the class representative, while Tatsuya sits at the back with other course 2 students. Recognizing Tatsuya's talents, 3 of his classmates Erika, Leo, and Mizuki form a group around him. They might think Tatsuya is cool, but this sentiment is not shared by course 1 students who think all the course 2 students are losers. Out of spite, they even call them weeds while referring to themselves as blooms. Pretty cringe-worthy nicknames. Later at school, when Tatsuya's sister Miyaki comes to meet him, the self-proclaimed blooms of course 1 stop her, saying, "What are you doing hanging around with these weed losers?" And this obviously pisses off the weeds. So Leo challenges the blooms to catch them outside for a good old-fashioned fistfight. Surprisingly for the blooms, the weeds have the upper hand, proving it's not all about how much you have, it's about how you use it. When suddenly the narcs from the student council appear to apprehend them all, Tatsuya convinces them to chill out, claiming this isn't a fight. They were all just fooling around and wanted to see each other's magic. Tatsuya could have pinned the blame on blooms, but our guy Tatsuya is too cool to be a snitch. When everything is resolved, instead of thanking Tatsuya, Shun from the Blossoms refuses to acknowledge him. Although one Blossom girl, Honoka, catches some feelings for Tatsuya and asks his group to hang out. The next day, the student council president Mayumi asks Tatsuya and Miyuki to come to her office. While there, they also meet Mary, the leader of the disciplinary committee. After introductions, President Mayumi invites Miyuki to join the student council, but Miyuki declines by saying her brother Tatsuya is much more capable than her, so they should invite him instead. They tell her that it's school policy to only a course 1 student can join the student council, so it's impossible for Tatsuya to join. But they do recognize Tatsuya's talents, and Mary asks him to join the disciplinary committee instead, which has no such rules. Hearing her brother's talent being acknowledged, Miyuki is more than happy to join the student council. But things go wrong at the next meeting when student council vice president Hanzo objects to Tatsuya joining the committee, simply because he thinks it's no position for a weed as they are inferior. This obviously pisses Miyuki off, but Hanzo says she is biased since Tatsuya is her brother. Tatsuya is not the one to show off, but he can't just stand around when his sister's judgment is being questioned. So he calmly challenges Hanzo to a school-sanctioned duel, which Hanzo accepts. Hanzo arrogantly thinks he can defeat Tatsuya in one move, but he is the one who gets one-shotted by Tatsuya instead. Seeing this, the student council is shocked to see Tatsuya so easily defeating the vice president. They notice his gun, or rather his casting assistant device CAD, is designed by Tora Silver, who is a legendary engineer. After asking some questions, they realize Tatsuya is a course 2 student only because his abilities are so unique that entrance exams couldn't judge him properly. Hanzo recognizes Tatsuya's victory and accepts his joining the disciplinary committee. He even apologizes to Miyuki for questioning her judgment. After learning about his victory against the undefeated Hanzo, the other member of the committee unquestionably recognized Tatsuya as one of their own. Seems like Mary has taught her subordinates well to be free of prejudice despite being of course 1, but she couldn't predict that Bloom supremacist Shun would also be joining the committee on the staff recommendation. He is the one who started the fight with weeds on the first day of school, and he is still the same hateful guy as before. Anyway, equipped with 2 Cades, Tatsuya begins his first day of patrolling as one of the disciplinary committee, where he notices some friction between the Kendo Club and the Kenjutsu Club. Kendo members only use swordplay, while the Kenjutsu combines swordplay with magic. In a non-magic duel, the leader of the Kenjutsu Club, Kirihara, gets defeated by Mibu, a weed girl from the Kendo Club. So, Kirihara loses his temper and decides to use magic against Mibu, violating the school rules. His action forces Tatsuya to jump in to arrest him, but when he does, the other Kenjutsu members refuse to adhere to his authority because he is a lowly weed. They attack Tatsuya, but he easily neutralizes them and their magic. Later, Tatsuya is summoned by the heads of the club federation, disciplinary committee, and student council, where he explains the reason behind his arrest. He decides not to mention the attack of other Kenjutsu members to resolve the matter with minimum controversy. On the same day when Tatsuya is chilling with his friends, and he reveals that the technique he created to neutralize magic could cause total mayhem, since their society is run by magic users of the 10 great families, and if Rebellion knows about magic nullifying technique, there would be war once again. The next day, Tatsuya is attacked by a mysterious guy. He neutralizes his magic and runs after him. The man manages to escape, but Tatsuya notices a multicolored bracelet on his arm, which is revealed to be the symbol of Blanche, an organization with aims to eliminate magic altogether, because they think magic has created too much injustice in society, with magic users thinking of themselves as superior. And despite the government's best efforts of keeping their existence a secret, students know of Blanche's involvement in past attacks on the academy. Later, Tatsuya meets up with Mibu, the kendo member he helped before. Mibu properly thanks Tatsuya, and then asks him to aid her in her goal to abolish the bloom and weed labeling. She wants to put forward the argument that magic power is not everything, and Tatsuya is living proof of that. But Tatsuya declines to join her efforts as he believes that the school acts fairly to the students, but it's the students who carry the prejudice against their fellow classmates, since using terms like weeds and blooms is actually prohibited by the school, but students use them anyway. Mibu leaves disappointed, and later she, with her coalition of weeds, takes over the broadcasting room, breaking the school rules to protest and put forth their demands. Disciplinary committee head Mary wants to take strict action, but the club federation leader Katsudo wants to resolve this peacefully. Tatsuya calls Mibu and convinces her to stop the protest in exchange for a fair hearing of their demands. But as soon as they get out, Mary orders the committee to arrest them all. Seeing this, Council President Mayumi frees them and offers the discussion as promised. Meanwhile, Tatsuya finds out the Kendo Club head Kano was the mysterious man who attacked him with a multicolored bracelet. He is also the one pulling the strings. He asks his sensei about it, and he reveals that Kano's stepbrother is actually Blanche's leader in Japan. Later, the discussion with the weed protesters fails, and both sides decide to do a public debate instead, during which President Mayumi manages to win the hearts of all students with her speech. And just when the matter was going to be resolved peacefully, suddenly some terrorists from Blanche attack the school. The students come together to successfully fend off the attack when it's revealed that the attack was just a cover, and the real objective was to steal magic secrets from the library. Tatsuya stops them from getting the secrets while Erika finds Mibu and arrests her after a fight. And elsewhere, Kino is also arrested by the club federation leader Katsudo. Turns out Mibu was used. Without knowing Blanche was behind the scenes, she regrets her actions, and she is ready to accept any punishment that comes. While Tatsuya plans to go and destroy the enemy hideout, because he can't forgive them for endangering his sister Miyuki. He planned on going solo, but his new friends decide to join his cause. Kiruhara also begs to join in because he has feelings for Mibu. At the headquarters, they are confronted by Blanche's leader Hajime with his lackeys. Hajime tries to use his mind control magic against Tatsuya, but Tatsuya nullifies it, and seeing his magic fail, he runs away. Students go after him, while Mayuko freezes all the lackeys with one spell. After a tough battle with Blanche, Kirihara finds Hajime and slices his arm, while Katsudo arrests him after stopping the bleeding. At the school, Mibu and Kino are forgiven for their actions, since they were under mind control by Hajime. And after successfully recovering from lingering mind control effects, Tatsuya and his friends receive Mibu, where Tatsuya also meets Mibu's dad. Her dad knows Tatsuya worked for the military, but he keeps it a secret because he is grateful for Tatsuya helping his daughter clear her name. Tatsuya then joins Miyuki and Erika, and together they tease Kirihara about his feelings for Mibu. On the way back, Miyuki worried because Tatsuya keeps pushing himself for her. He wouldn't have even had to go to a high school if it wasn't for his desire to act as her bodyguard. Tatsuya replies he is happy to do it, because that's his only chance of having an ordinary student life. Miyuki and Tatsuya train with their sensei for the upcoming 9 schools competition, in which Miyuki is participating. Later, Tatsuya is asked to fill a position as a magic engineer, working on the back end for competition participants. Like always, the course wants student object that a mere weed can never be capable enough of that, but Tatsuya proves his overwhelming skills to them. After school, Tatsuya gets warned by his military superiors about the movements of the No-Head Dragon criminal syndicate, since they might interfere with the 9 schools competition. At night, Tatsuya casually creates a CAD that allows magicians to fly. A CAD many have tried to create and failed. He surprises Miyuki with it and lets her take it for a spin. The next day, he visits his lab to show the flying CAD prototype to Ashiyama, the lab director. It's revealed that Tatsuya and Ashiyama do work under the alias of Torisilver, the anonymous legendary inventor who has advanced the field by 10 years. They test the flying CAD, and it's amazing, but it's too draining for normal magicians, so it needs some work. When leaving, Tatsuya and Miyuki meet their father and his butler. The butler insults Tatsuya, injuring Miyuki. He hates Tatsuya and calls him a mere escort, but he respects Miyuki as she is the candidate for the next head of the family. It's revealed that Tatsuya was experimented on as a child by his mother, and thus he has lost all emotion except for the connection to his sister. That's why he was never considered a candidate for family head, despite being the talented elder son. At school, Mikihiko is practicing spirit magic when Mizuki barges in, and on reflex Mikiko attacks, but Tatsuya saves her. Mikihiko apologizes and notices Mizuki has crystal eyes. With them, she can even see spirits. Time passes and the students leave for the venue of the 9 schools competition, but on the way, a car loses control. It's about to crash into the student bus, but luckily Katsudo and Miyuki manage to stop it in time while Tatsuya secretly removes the protection spells on the car. He knows it wasn't an accident but a suicide attack on the bus. Due to the incident, Kirihara and Hanzo notice that the siblings Miyuki and Tatsuya have something special about them, especially Tatsuya, who might have even killed people before. At the venue of the competition, the siblings meet Mizuki and Erika, who have sneaked in despite not being part of the competition, thanks to Erika's family connections, although they will be posing as waiters. At the party, the director of the Magic Association suddenly unleashes large-scale sneaky magic to test the students. He reveals that it was a test and only 5 students in the crowd, including Tatsuya, could detect it. Meanwhile, we get introduced to 2 genius students from the 3rd magic school, Misaki, the Crimson Prince, and George. At night, Mikihiko suddenly gets attacked by some unknown men while training his spirit magic, and while he fights back, Tatsuya shows up and disarms the attackers. The next morning, the competition begins, and Mary wins the water race while Mayumi wins the shooting round. Seems like Tatsuya's school is dominating the competition. Between the breaks, Tatsuya is summoned by his military superiors, who are undercover to make sure no head dragon doesn't try anything. Following orders, Tatsuya stays vigilant of any suspicious activity, while doing engineering work for the competitors. He even creates an awesome detachable sword like CAT, and asks Leo to test it out. On the next day of the competition, Tatsuya's school continues to dominate, until an accident happens at the water race semifinals, where another student crashes into Mary, injuring her so badly that she is rushed to the hospital. Tatsuya believes it wasn't an accident at all. After some investigation, he finds some interference of magic and signs of tampering with one of the competitors' CAD. Competition continues and Tatsuya's school is still number 1, but due to their recent mishap, the gap between them and other schools is getting closer. For the next few games, Tatsuya's engineering skills come into the limelight as he has created new magic, and the equipment he tunes is so good that even geniuses from 3rd high school acknowledge Tatsuya's overwhelming skills. Miyuki is concerned about why Tatsuya doesn't take credit for creating new magic, and he clarifies it's only because people would find out he is Tora Silver, and that would be going against their Aunt Maya's wishes, as Maya is also their Yotsuba family head. Shun the Bloom supremacist is infuriated with Tatsuya becoming so popular, so vows to prove the Blooms are better than weeds, while Tatsuya crosses paths with the infamous Misaki and George, and they challenge Tatsuya to a match. In the past, Misaki was slaughtering enemies from the age of 13, and George was a researcher from a young age famous for creating an absolute magic system called Cardinal Cord.